Pards, I was watching the game. I literally got picked up from Heathrow Airport after being in Saudi for the week and headed off to Minehead Butlins. Bit of a difference between Saudi and Minehead.
Wow, that's,
one
end of the earth to the other.
Yeah, to perform at We Love Ibiza alongside Todd Terry and some other legends, which was good fun. But on the way there, I was with Louis, who works for me. Big shout out to Louis, who's an Arsenal fan. So we was watching the game.
Yeah.
That Ramsdale mistake, I thought 1-0, here we go. Brentford, they're a decent side. Great little moment from Ivan Toney. Great.
That was amazing technique, by the way.
Yeah.
To hit that like that.
And then, of course, Ramsdale makes up for that mistake. And then I watched it, and it just felt inevitable that Arsenal would score. They've been able to do that since they went over to see Salt Bay in Dubai, since that comeback, when we was worried about them scoring. Do they need a number 9? They get the job done, and once again, Kai Havertz pops up with a goal. But should he have been on the pitch is what we're asking.
Well, listen, there's some stats here. Let me throw them at you now, so the Arsenal fans that can listen in, because there's some good stats about Arsenal. And if I was Arteta, I would sit them down tomorrow morning, Monday morning, and say to them, you've got 10 to go. Last year you blew up, right, a little bit. But look at these stats. After 28 games, you had 20 wins. They're the first team to 20 wins. They're the first team to 70 goals this season, right? They've got the best goal difference against in the league with 24. They're only the 4th team to win the first 8 games of the calendar year, right? The first, only 3 other teams have done it. Do you know who they would be?
Arsenal?
No. Arsenal have done it, obviously. But I'm saying, who are the other 3? Because it's quite significant.
Manchester City?
Yes, and what did they do? Won the Prem.
Yeah.
Liverpool was another one. What did they do? They won the Prem.
Manchester United.
And Man United. So they're great stats. Like, Arteta can sit them down. Now the expected goals, they're the same as City, same as Liverpool. It's all roughly the same. They're right in there. All they've got to do is overcome this mental hurdle
mentality
of what happened last year. And he has to install that in them, that all the stats are pointing that you're good enough, you're good enough, you've got to see it over the line. And the only other thing I would add to that is they got the Rice factor. You know, this kid who's come in, sitting in front of the back two, has given them a stability and an assurance that they didn't have last year.
Yeah.
And I think...
And leadership qualities.
Yeah. So if you're an Arsenal fan, there's a lot to cling on to there. Forget about your top of the league tonight. All those other stats are very, very strong for them to go on and win it. So, you know, when I looked at them, I was like, it's looking good.
Yeah. Well, let's hear from an Arsenal fan. Ali joins us on the final word. Good evening, Ali.
Good evening. How are you guys?
Very good, Ali. Have you been hearing all the Liverpool fans giving a bit of stick to Arsenal tonight?
Yeah. And I've heard yourself saying you want the Arsenal fan very confident coming here and, saying we're going to win it. But I'm not going to be that confident, and I'll tell you why. Because I think as an Arsenal fan base, we've been humbled last season, and we've become much more sensible and pragmatic in our approach. But the stats you've just given right now, and the way we've been winning games in the past, 5 games, I think gives us huge optimism that going forward in the next 10 games, with the result that happened tonight, it's literally in our hands. Now, if there was any other result tonight, that we couldn't have said. But we're on top of the Premier League. Our goal difference is +7 or +8 on Man City. We play Man City again, and we don't have to worry about what Liverpool do. It's in our hands, and I think this is what Mikel Arteta really needs to get to the players. It's in your hands, and if you guys go and win the next 10 games, we don't have to worry what Man City does, what Liverpool does. And I think that gives a lot of optimism.
Yeah.
And as you just said, in terms of Declan Rice, I think we've really strengthened the squad this season in terms of the backbone in defence. We're making sure the defence, we've got dynamic players like Ben White doing the inverted or right back or left back role, and really made a more better transitional switch in terms of moving the ball from midfield to attack with Declan Rice and Jorginho becoming those pivot players. So I think we're massively optimistic. I think we definitely can do it, and it's in our hands. We don't need to worry about Man City or Liverpool. If we win our next 10 games, regardless of what happens, Arsenal are going to be the champions, and that's what I want to see on the last day of the season. Arsenal being champions once again.
Just to talk about those games, Pards and Ali, that you've won in the last 8. Just to put into context, though, 5 out of the 8 are in the bottom 14. So Palace, Brentford, Nottingham Forest, Burnley and Sheffield United.
They're all tricky games. Don't worry about who the opposition are. What we do know is, of the running of Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal got the toughest running.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. They have got some tough games. But everything's pointing to them. Everything's pointing to them, form-wise, stat-wise. So it's in their hands. And Ali's quite right. It's in their hands. They can go and do the job.
Ali, as an Arsenal fan, right, and of course, you look at last season, top of the league for the most amount of days and didn't get over the line. There was obviously the season where you didn't get top 4. You lost it. It was in your hands that time again. Obviously, lost to Spurs, but then lost to Newcastle. Do you think the mentality's changed? Do you think there is a different mentality now with Arteta in this Arsenal?
Look, just to go back on your previous point, last season, the points we dropped against the teams were the teams at the bottom half of the Premier League. Specifically, Southampton that were already relegated. We got a draw out of them in the Emirates when everyone thought we were going to win. I thought this is going to be an easy win. We're going to go back on support. We were winning 2-0 against West Ham, and we drew 2-2 to them. And we got a draw at Anfield, which I was actually very happy. So actually, I think it's more of a mentality thing rather than the teams being at the bottom half of the Premier League or the top half. Now, actually, just bringing a hypothesis here, I think in the last 10 games, if you've got much tougher games, mentally you have to be more alert anyway.
Yeah, of course.
It's not like you're going to go into those games and you're going to say, you know what, this is Southampton, they're already relegated, we're going to beat them. No, we're going to Tottenham, we're going to Man City. So we're going to already have to be switched on. So I think that's going to add to our mentality. And just to reaffirm on that point, 100%, 100%, this is without a doubt. The backbone of this team, 80% of our players have experienced what happened last season. Another 65%, 70% of it experienced what happened against Newcastle on the last day of the season. That all we needed was a draw or a win to get a European spot in Champions League, and we couldn't do that. So I think in the face of adversity, Arsenal will become stronger. We will become stronger. We will, honestly, I genuinely think it's in our hands. Arteta is huge on mentality and, the whole psychology element of the game. I genuinely think it's in our hands. Arteta, with managing this squad, we definitely will win the league. I know I said that originally, I'm not going to be so confident, but I just can't see any other way.
Well, Ali's definitely having it. Look, let me say this. In my opinion, on that run-in, they got 3 key games. You got Man City, Spurs away, right, and Man United away.
Isn't Chelsea
Chelsea's at home.
Yeah.
So they got 3 away games that are going to decide. Now, when Leicester, I remember, and I was managing at the time, thinking Leicester won't do it. They won't do it. They'll come up stuck. When they come up against the big teams, is when it's gonna come down on them and the running. And do you remember when they went to Man City and tore them to shreds? Right, they tore them to shreds, and that is how you win a league title. You go to the top clubs and you do the business, and that's what Arsenal got to do. And the proof will be in the pudding in the 10 games we got left. But they're the 3 key games for Arsenal.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.